Hey, everybody. Happy Saturday to you. Going live with Terrax from Marvel Comics for Galactus's Heralds. This is the next one up here. I'm going to share this with the page real quick so everybody can see that, and we will go from there. So, and blink. All right. Waiting for that to post. And there we go. Cool. All right. Hey, Roland. Thanks for making it. I appreciate it. Popping on and checking it out. Yeah, I didn't get to see much of this guy when I started reading comics. Um, Even in the FF run, it was pretty much past that point. And every time I would get into the FF, he would come around. And then when I would get out of it again, he would pop in once in a while. But it's just a strange guy. This is one of my least favorites of the listing, but he is one of the most vicious and one of the actual funnest to draw because of the fact that he's got such a cool look. And I like to make the armor covering that covers his ears and his face a little bit heavier duty than the just the wraparound that the Kirby style look had. And I just like to flesh that out a little bit like this with boxing these edges and stuff and kind of making it, stand out just a little bit more than what we normally have with him. So it has a little bit stronger 3D effect. And this one's going to be a close-up, so it's really, really easy to get in those details and make that pop. Now, with this curve, I'm doing the same thing here. It's a horseshoe type curve, so we've got about halfway across. It'll come back out and pop out like that, so we can make that armor work. And get my big knuckles out of the way here. Move your daggum hand! But yeah, I hope everybody's having a good Saturday. I know I am. I'm having a blast today. I'm working on a couple of consignments that I have to finish up, and getting pinups and character packages and things like that I was behind on finished up since the Lone Rider book is finished, and then getting ready for the Kickstarter preview tomorrow, which is going to be awesome for that book to come out for you guys to be able to see and give everybody some promotional time to get in which cards they want and what bid action they want and all that, for the donations and all that cool stuff. And I think it's going to be a blast. I'm going to have a lot of stuff on here, a lot of videos and content, and I think it's going to be fun. I've got a lot planned, a lot. So I think it's going to go well. But anyway, you guys will be the final judge of that. We'll see. I may get on there and you'd be like, what the heck are you doing? But we'll find out. Well, like I said, I will admit I do like drawing this guy because he is so dynamic, and he has a lot of the old school Kirby character type of flair to him. So he's really, really animated and really rigid in the way that he's drawn, but yet in a simplistic way. By simplistic, I mean that he has a very simple design, but yet a very charismatic depth to him that not a lot of characters have anymore, especially at Marvel. With all the changes they're doing and stuff, they don't have characters that really pop anymore. As far as villains go, I mean, you got one or two that really dig in, but this dude, he comes out of the gate screaming. Of course, he's not a herald any longer, as some people may or may not know already, but still, as a Marvel character and a Marvel villain, or a force of contrast for the characters, that this dude is bar none, awesome. Just totally hands-on, committed to being nasty. And no matter who's writing him, you can't help but write him vicious, because that's just the personality this character holds and stalks, for lack of a better term. I mean, that's exactly what it is. He is comprised of nothing but rage, and very easy to manipulate into a nasty war type situation beyond the typical battles. And I just dig that. I really, really dig a character that can do that. Um, Not many can these days. Everybody's either been super powered up so strongly that they can't handle the threat that's there, or they go the opposite direction and they're just so timid and so weak that you can't enjoy the threat that they should be causing but don't. Um, I mean, this guy, everybody thinks that Apocalypse is the guy to be afraid of, but um, this character has such a rage and raw power in his cosmic level that I would like to see Marvel do more with him. And if Fox had 2 cents to rub together on what they would decide to do with the FF, I would bring characters like this together. Instead of making clouds, Galactus into a cloud and all that weird stuff. If you're listening, anybody that has access from Fox, which I don't know if I'm that kind of guy, if you're following me or not, but if you had that kind of pull, definitely consider putting in for a character like this that you could put on screen and make a massive monster out of, and really enjoy what's going on with the FF series. I doubt they'll do that, but it's out there. The universe has now absorbed it. It's official. So yeah, definitely, Kevin. If you guys can't see that, Kevin just posted about drawing rock textures, because that's the skin type of texture feedback that we're getting from this character. And he's got like a granite look whenever he's detailed out. So that's one of the things we'll see when I ink him and he's all nice and colored up. I'm breaking the rule here by going back and forth, chopping into it. Don't grind the line. But I want it to be good and thick, so I'm okay with that. But anyway, very cool, very fun. I am, like I said, making this a three-dimensional kind of thing, where it's more of an attachment rather than part of his face, because they never say if it is or not. If this is actually his beard and hair, or because he's got it, like I said, he's got that stone texture going on, but it covers his ears and all that, so I don't know if it's armor or what, but I'm not gonna debate the point. I think it's pretty neat, whatever it is, and we're gonna go on from there, because I'm drawing this bad boy out, and this is what we're getting. So, and I really, really, really like drawing characters like this, especially, like I said, I love drawing the old Jack Kirby type characters, because the way that he did stuff like this, he blocked all this stuff out and just made it really cool. I mean, these bigger, bulkier, almost lethargic ape type characters, as it were, because he's a big old dude. He is not a lightweight. I mean, he's just got a like I said, a literally gorilla type mass to him. So, literal, not literally, but literal. It's just one of those things. It's phenomenal to work with a character like this that can really hold up, and somebody that can knock the crap out of Ben Grimm and make him, flinch a little bit and say "ow" is always awesome, especially when it's someone that isn't the Hulk. That's a big plus for me. So, yeah. But anyway, I digress. So I'm gonna go ahead and black that out, because we're gonna do the stonework here. But yeah, it's one of those odd things where there's very few characters that you get to enjoy. And like I said, he's my least favorite Herald, but as a standalone character and a villain on his own, he's pretty profound. He's charged with cosmic energy just like all the rest of them, and he was one of the first to get hit with dark matter. Even though that everybody thinks that that was the what was it? What's the other Herald's name? The Dark One, or the that last newborn that was the solid black antimatter dark matter guy. You could tell how impressive I thought he was, but it's just one of those things. This guy actually absorbed a lot of dark matter, and that's part of what made Galactus drop him, was the fact that he went nuts and he couldn't control him. So he had his own agenda and decided to go off his own villain and come up and torture people and whatnot. And Galactus said, "I can't have that. I can't eat. I'll go hungry," and went from there. But it's just one of those things. Now this underbrow right here, I normally block that out, but what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to cut in and kind of shade that in places. I don't want it to look like an eyebrow, so I have to be careful. But because that's the reason I'm not blacking it all out, because I don't want it to look like an eyebrow. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut this ridge in, and I'll add an exterior ridge to it, like this, to make it look like part of the eye instead of an eyebrow situation, because he doesn't have them. He does not. Nope, nope, nope. And I'll feather this in a little bit just to make that a clear and present line and wake that up for you guys. So cool deal. Now you may notice that I'm not drawing in the eyeballs, the pupils and the irises and whatnot. It's because of the fact that he has white eyes. Just saying. So he has white eyes going on. So it's white eyes. It's white eyes. Stop it. Color them in. They're creepy. So as you can tell, it's the weekend. And I like doing the Father Time thing too on him, giving him more sunken eyes, a little more definition, because of the fact that he is a rock-like character. I still like to give him the wrinkles and the human aspect of things, because I just want it to be something that prominently stands out a little more than just the granite look. Because like right here, I'll give him this kind of thing. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, you just polished him up, man. But yes, I did. But that's okay, because what we're doing is, like I said, I'm just making him pop up a little bit more. And these little tweaks like this, when I go in and do the granite lines, will look really, really cool. I'm going to draw some Kirby-style armor. I know a lot of people freak out when I do this, because it's like, that's Kirby style, draw it modern. But what I like to do is I like to go in and do the classic thick line, thin line stuff, and block some of this out, because of the fact that what happens is it just holds a nostalgia to it that really resonates with this character, and that's just something I don't want it to miss out on. Not to mention the fact that it's really cool. So now I'll go in right here underneath this jaw and go right down here and curve that out. that's another thing that's really a no-no with this character. But me being me, I break the rules, so it's okay. I don't care. I want it to look more modern rather than totally, restricted to the classic design. So whenever he comes out, I want it to have a nice curvature to it and whatnot. So that's why we're doing it that way. It's always funny to try new techniques and new tactics. With this one, this is kind of like the surfer because this is polished. His beard thing going on here. This is really, really interesting for me because what I like to do is I like to put in, like in this beard, I'll put in this one thin line right here and curve it back just a little where it's got kind of a tip to it, and it shows that curve to the beard, as it were. That's what we're going to call it today. Now I fill in that line, and then I'll come right over here and come up underneath this lip and go right down the edge this way, super thin, and then I'll come back over here, cut it down, go about halfway. I'm going to dig into that card a little bit, so I don't want to do that, but I'm going to cut it down about halfway, then I'm going to come right over here and follow this edge just like I did right there, and I'm going to go way back up. And the reason for that is because it'll add that curve to the chin that I need for that to look right. Put out a little more lead there, and it makes it pop. It adds that weight to the curve so that all of that's done just like that right there. Now I'll streak that down just a little bit more to thicken it up for the curve. Now I know a lot of people would be like, drawing in all these fine lines and these tweaks and stuff like that, and a lot of people are really, really good at that, but I am not one to do that because I don't want to overwork it, especially with this being a polished look. So that's why you guys have that going on. Let me bring it right back up to the edge of this chin here. Thicken that out. And again, like I said, just going to go thick, thin. So this will come up about here. And when this is finished, you'll be able to see the, those highlights like the character has naturally going on. You can see that coming out. It's dark light, dark light, dark light, and it's like kind of like that all the way around. And since this is a primary light source, like ding right there, it's going to be super thin right there in the middle, and it's going to have a lot of exposure, and that's why. So if you're wondering why it gets dark in places and it moves up, that would be why. Now also, the thing I'm going to do is go in and cut this in, and because the light's coming down that way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jack that just a little bit, and then I'm going to curve this out and go ahead and do that right now with these highlights so that I don't miss it later. And what I'm going to do is go up here on this high point of the jaw and shade downward because it's going to be tipped inward just a little, so the light's going to hit right across here rather than up here. It's going to call across like that because of the face being right there. So the nose and the I forget the name of that muscle that goes right across here, but the facial muscle right there in the cheek, and it's going to go right across there and block that out. And then down here you would have just a little bit too because of this curvature in the mouth that starts to lead back here into the mandible and all that. You want to have just that little bit of darkness right there and just a little seam of dark underneath that, because you're still going to have enough light sticking out off that ridge to make that light up. So that's the reason why. And if you want it to look 3D, you definitely want to pay attention to those light sources and that sort of thing. So just my 2 cents. We're going to go thin, and I'm going to leave it like that because I'm going to have another light source come down this direction. So it's got one going across here and then the X hatch going across here. So it'll light up, it'll darken this down underneath here, and underneath the eye ridges and all that, and underneath the nose, and it'll cause the light to come down across that way. So what we're going to get here is we'll get a reflective light signature like that right here at the rim, where it'll show, like I said, with the Silver Surfer piece, if you saw that, you want that dark refraction on stone and metal, because it's going to make everything blob together into that black mark. And just like this right here, it'll make it do that as well. So whatever, ship, blades, whatever will be on there. Because everybody asks all the time about that kind of thing. It's like, how do you define whether it's going to be thick, thin, or what shape it's going to be in and all that, like Kirby used to do, because he used to ball one side of it to show organic stuff standing next to him. And that's what I'm going to do here. Because we're supposed to be on this side of him. What I'm going to do right here is this. I'm going to go in, I'm going to put in that little curve, and then I'm going to put in a refraction bubble like this. And we're going to put that right down to the corner. And I know a lot of people freak out on that. What are you doing? But that's okay. Trust me, it'll work out. Trust me. Like Bill Murray said in the original Ghostbusters, trust me, we're professionals. So let's see here. Go back up this way and cut that off. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to thicken this up a little bit, because I don't want it to look, from this angle, I don't want it to look like a butt. And, I can just hear all the heckling and giggling about it and whatnot now. You put a butt on his face. So we're not going to do that. But let's keep it G. So we got that going on. And now with the ridge of the armor going behind the eye and down the jaw, I'm also going to bring it right up here to the front, and I want to give it a good highlight right there across the top, because what's going to happen is we're going to have this V taper type of thing right here, and it's just to show that curve on the jaw just a little bit. You don't want to overwork that, because what will end up happening is it'll make it look weird. Now we want to put this thin line right here and give it just a little bit of a broad base, just a little, to give it that weight. Now it's starting to look like the jaw piece, so we got that going on. I got to draw in those big refrigerator teeth that he's got, though, because the Kirby style block teeth, because Jack used to use his own face and he had squared teeth, so that was a cool thing that he used to do, and that's why everybody looked the same. It's because but yet it looked unique. It's because he framed everybody off of his own reflection and modeled himself in 99% of what he did. The other 10% was just force of habit of practice and crushing it. That was just Jack. But I've studied the guy for years, and believe me, there's a lot of cool stuff out there that people don't take into consideration. Let's do this here. Now, what I'm going to do is the only two places I'm going to do this, all right? The only two places I want to do this, because it's rock, not metal, is right here. Watch this. And right here. The only way you're going to get that is organic light hitting directly on those spots. And like I said, remember how I told you it was going to be across here and across here? That's the reason why it's coming in from that side scope. Now, a lot of people are going to be freaking out going, well, why are you going to do that? Well, it's because of the fact that I'm going to black it out. You're going to get that ridged look from light sources coming in, and warping it. I always love doing this because that's something that just stands out like nothing else. So you can see the organic light hitting over here. Like people or, us, for example, would be looking at it like that at that point. And that's where we'd be standing off to the side, and that's where the shot was taken, or, whatever motion, organic motion's in place. Okay? Rob, he posted, Replicator? He wants me to draw his character, Replicator, and I may have to do a special live card just to give him that satisfaction of having that done. So I'll add that to the list today and make a time to do that for him. His book's coming up pretty quick, so I am all about helping out. Community over competition, I always say. Now this chest line right here where the clavicle is, I'm putting this in very gently because of the fact that this dude is like solid. I don't want it to be weird. I'm not going to draw it to where the bone like sticks out because, one, he's not human, but two is the fact that, like I said, I want the chest to look solid. So go ahead and put that curve in right there for that collarbone. Show where that dips down, and everything kind of drops into the pectoral muscles right there, which, like I said, this dude is not human, so he's got a little bit different look. For one, his neck is like 3 times bigger than the rest of his body and goes across his shoulders, and it's just insane how that goes out. But that was Jack. Whenever Jack Kirby would draw somebody, it was always cool because he made them larger than life. And I mean, all the artists that have drawn this guy did the same thing, but you can definitely tell that influence. So we've got that going on, and I want to black a good chunk of this out because these are the shadow lines for that big muscle that runs across the top of the neck there, which I can never remember the name of. Whenever I present, it's funny because it's like, well, what's that muscle called? And I'm like, I don't know. You shouldn't have asked me. Dadgummit, where's my notes? Can somebody Google Grey's Anatomy? But anyway, it's all in good fun. So this dude is coming along really quick. Let me see here. I'm going to go ahead and draw underneath the nose there and kind of paste that out a little bit. I know everybody's like, you cheated, you put in the shade lines. But it is what it is there. So now I'm going to put in the classic lip shadow. You guys will all recognize this. If you're comic fans, you will recognize this hardcore because of the fact that Kirby was notorious for doing this right here. Just, especially on polished surfaces like organic rock or steel or anything like that. It's just like, ding, shade, cool. But we're going to get underneath this brow here. And because of the texture of his skin, I'm going to try to flesh that out without going all the way in there because I want it to be where it pops off just a little bit. There we go. Awesome. Set it to that one side. Now I'll do this side. Oh, we'll go over here first because I want to give it a little bit of shadow right up on this corner, but I don't want to black it out because remember we got that other light coming off that way, down from this angle. It's an X type of look. So I'll give it right there. And then I'll put it right on this edge here. just kind of gives it a little bit more of a three-dimensional edge. I like to block it out just a little bit. Especially with the way this looks, because he's coming across very, very well. So, anyway. Now, I know this is a Saturday show and whatnot, and I know it's late in the afternoon, but you guys are so cool for hanging out with me. I so appreciate it. You have no idea. I love doing this stuff, and I'm glad you're here. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your weekend with your family and stuff to show up. And gonna get this going. Now, to get something kind of different, I'm sorry, I got some pop-ups here that I'm taking care of. Bear with me just a second. There we go. Because I got everybody popping up on me, and I just wanted to make sure everything's cool. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and look at like this. And I'm going to kind of cut this across because I don't want to turn him into Ben Grimm, because that's not the thing. You know, I didn't even realize I did that. Jeez. Sorry for the lame pun there. I'm just kind of marking this up just a little bit. And he's got more solid edges rather than anything else. So this is kind of what I'm doing here. Very subtle and just a couple. And they're always large sections. They're never refined like individual rocks or anything like that. People that do that overwork this stuff. And if you do it, it's going to look like he's a Ben Grimm knockoff or, you know, an alien version of Ben. And you don't want to do that, okay? So be sure not to go digging too deep into that, because it's more of a texture thing and a color thing rather than him being completely rocked out. It's just lines here and there. Very subtle. And a lot of people don't like to put in all these lines and stuff. Kirby used to put in all these lines where he would put in, like, you know, these little slot bricks and stuff like that. And I don't want to do that because it's too close to Ben Grimm from what I feel about the character. And I don't want to go that route. So, like I said, just going to make it look a little more organic and rough. And we're going to leave it there. So he looks like he has some composure of being rock. And I love to watch these characters go at it because they freak out so bad. And under here, I'm going to add a little bit of a shadow lip. I don't want to block that off. I want to keep it separate. So, because that neckline's going to, you know, that throat line's right there with the voice box and whatnot. And I want to make sure that this stays up here like this and looks clean. But now we're going to go into the neck. Like I said, always sharp zigzag lines, because that's the way that granite tends to grow, and that's where you get that block marbling look in certain types of it. It doesn't grow smooth like typical marble or, you know, other types of stone. It tends to be all over the place and much more sharp. Okay. We'll take this one a different direction. Alrighty. Now we'll come down here and I'll cut across into the chest, just like that. Go right here, cut that off. And a lot of people don't draw this character this way. I do, because of the fact that I like him to look like, you know, the classic Granite style character that he is. And it gives him, like I said, it gives him a way more organic feel. But that's okay too. I mean, if it's not your thing, that's okay too. We're gonna get into these big teeth here. Like I said, we're gonna go classics Kirby style with them, so they're gonna be a little bit bigger. And I think we're going to go good with that. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay. A little bit of marking there. Now, let's see. I'm going to go up in this corner and finish this out real quick. Just kind of want to dip that out. Now, if you don't see what I'm doing here, you'll see it. I'll teach you a really cool technique real quick, and then we're going to wrap it up and call it a day. But I'll tell you what, whenever you want to attract a character to the eye, always do this. Put a shadow where it points into the eye. And the reason for that is because that hard spot will drag it right across here to the eye line instantly. Just boom. Because see how these are curved, and then that one's like a diamond in the rough sticking out there in the middle. It goes, that's a focal point, and just boom, right there across the middle. So you'll get that look that you're looking for. Just bring him on out. But I hope you guys dig this. This is where we're at, and I think it's cool. Rob, thanks, man. I appreciate it. He's bragging on me a little bit. I so appreciate that. You guys are awesome. He says it's the best one so far in his opinion. He hasn't seen Galactus yet. Just, just saying. So, anyway, I've got a bunch of stuff to record, and I've got to ink these guys and get some stuff going on. Just be sure and check it out, okay? Tomorrow, we've got another one coming up for this one, and like I said, a few more pieces, and then we got to do the Fantastic Four, and this is the third Herald. I'm going to do one more, then I'm going to do the Fantastic Four pieces, Reed, Sue, Johnny, and Ben, and then I'm going to work on this massive piece for Galactus, and it's going to be awesome. Also, got Boba Fett. I moved it back because of the situation of some travel plans changed for my daughter, so I just wanted to let you guys know that I had to move that around a little bit, but I still haven't forgot the Boba Fett. I've got the covers over here as well that need to be shown off and finished up, but right after I do my commissions, that'll be early this coming week. I'll be popping on a couple of videos for you guys as those progress. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. Don't miss the new how-to training coming up this week as well. The Kickstarter coming out tomorrow for Lone Rider for Firestorm Comics, and you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. Thanks a lot. Check you tomorrow.